So I decided to change it up a bit, post a bit more on Overwatch like I used to. And today I was just going to give out tips or information on how to actually make it in the top 500. I know the Halloween patch just came out and it has a scoreboard, so a lot more people are wondering how to actually get into the top 500. And after I actually tell you how, I'll also go over a bit of strategy and tips, but for the first few minutes I'm just basically telling you the requirements to get in the top 500. So the first one is just be good, and honestly, like, if you followed every strategy perfectly, if you did everything right, you could still not make it just because you're not as good. So I would just recommend practice and more playing if you're not good, but I guess if you're watching this video, you're decent. So my biggest tip, I guess, or information is to start early, and this is really essential if you're looking to make it in the top 500, because a little disclaimer here, I didn't actually make it in the top 500, I made it 558, and then I just kind of quit because I had other stuff going on. I honestly feel like I could have made it in the top 500, it was just a matter of winning more games. But I will tell you this, the earlier you start, the higher your chances are of getting in the top 500, because as the season progresses, the threshold to get in the top 500 just goes up, because you'll be kind of beat out by no-lifers. I mean, if you're a no-life, then all the more power to you, but some of us don't have that luxury, so we have to start early. Which kind of plays into SR isn't everything. I've actually seen people that are 3,400 in the top 500 somehow. Like, I honestly have no idea, but it just kind of proves that SR isn't the only indicator. I'm really sure it's the biggest factor, but definitely not the only indicator. And the thing is, Blizzard has never really elaborated on this. I've actually posted in the forums many times asking, and I never get a response. So this information is just really foggy. This is all I've gotten from my looking it up and research, I guess you could call it. But in the end, it's really unclear how you actually get in the top 500 besides being good and having a really high SR. The other two things I think are worth mentioning are just find your threshold for your platform, because your platform is separated by region and platform, and by that I mean PS4 top 500 is separate from Xbox top 500. If you're top 500 in Europe, you might not be top 500 in America, or vice versa. So it's separated by region and platform. I know Blizzard once said that it was separated only by, if you were on PS4, it was top 500 PS4 and that's it, but it now looks like PS4 separated by region, because originally it was only PC separated by region. So I think on PS4 that either gives you, there's technically 2,000 top 500 spots available, or 1,500. I'm not sure how many regions there are. Anyways, that's gonna do it on strict objective how to actually get in the top 500 facts, I guess. If you want to stick around and look at strategy, that would be great, but if you're not into that, then I guess the rest of the video is not really for you. But for the first strategy, I guess I talked a lot with people in the forums, and this was kind of the consensus on target priority. But this is a really hard one because it really just comes down to what the situation is. I mean, I can't really tell you what target you should shoot. I mean, it's just entirely situation based. But this is kind of an indicator of what it should be. I guess your end goal is to have more people on your team than the enemy team, and I know that sounds really basic, but I think it's really underlooked, because if it's a 5v6 or a 4v6, 99% of the time you're going to win that battle if you have the 6-man team. So really, you want to try to pick off the weakest and then go for the biggest threat, and then go for the healers after that. I know a lot of people say, oh, just go straight for the healers, which is kind of you're on the right idea, but in the end, your goal should be trying to get less people on that team and keep your team up, which leads into team synergy. What I have to say on this is, don't make like static plans. I mean, if you're like, oh, let's all go left, and there's a Bastion left guarded by a Reinhardt, I mean, you can't really do much about that, so you're gonna have to change your entire plan. But The thing is, everyone should be able to change the plan and know the plan at the same time. I know that's kind of confusing. Basically, everyone should know what their role is and what to do, and if you all do that, no matter the situation, you should be able to come out on top. So just make sure everyone knows their role and everyone knows how to do it, and if something comes up, everyone knows what to do next. Now, this is really basic, but again, I think so many people overlook this. And I honestly can't stress this enough. So 6v6 is what you're going to be facing most of the time. But when you have a 5v6 or even lower, your chances of winning that battle or that push go up by so much. Because when it's a 6v6, all the team's damage is dissipated onto all the team's health. It's evenly spread out. But when people start going down, that team's damage can be focused on a less amount of targets, which means those targets will start going down faster. So it's kind of like exponential deaths. It's domino effect. If one goes down, it's more likely that others will go down, especially if it's the healers, because then there's no heals for the team. But you know what I mean. So I wasn't even going to put this in, but the game right before I made this video, I played a game, and I think I was master, and it was a bunch of diamonds and masters. There were even top 500 in this game, and I still saw this. You just never want to drip, because it's basically setting up a 1v6 for your team. I mean, you might be able to get 1 or 2 kills, but it's not going to help anyone. And in the end, you're just making a mess of things. But that's not to say wait at spawn for the rest of your team. Kind of just make your way over there. If you're a faster character, then maybe just walk slow. If you're a slow character, then you can just go in a straight line. But really, you want to be malleable. You just want to move as a group, but don't stand around, because then someone could pick you off easily, and you also waste a bit of time. And for the last one, this is mostly just for DPS and flankers to narrow that down. People like Genji, Reaper, and Tracer, and I guess McCree to a lesser extent. On a side note, with McCree, I like to try to stick next to the group. You can flank with him, but I mean, he's really slow, so if you get in a tight spot, then your chances are you're dead. Anyways, this is you want to poke and pull the other team away from the front. So if there's a battle going down, if you go behind them and start just poking them in the back, at most they'll turn around and start trying to battle with you, which relieves pressure from your team. And in the least, they'll start taking damage that they can't really do anything about, because if they turn around, they'll get shot in the back by your team, and if they don't turn around, then you can just keep poking them in the back all day. And I think it's just really underestimated. I mean, a good Tracer can do this very well. Reaper can also do this with a lot more damage. He can even get some kills and then Wraith form out of there. But I think it's a really underappreciated strategy, but you do see it a lot in high level play. But if you're in platinum or low diamond, you might not see this a lot. But that's going to do it for my tips and information. I know a lot of people don't actually know how to get in the top 500 because Blizzard just doesn't communicate on how to do it, and I hope the first part of that video showed you, and I hope you might have learned a thing or two with the second part of the video. Anyways, just let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll see you
now. Which way do we go is the question to